What if I told you that by 2050, China could lose nearly half of its workforce while the US keeps growing? For years, we've been warned about China's rise, how it's taking over global trade, building the world's biggest military, and competing with the US for superpower status. But what if China's biggest challenge isn't the US? What if it's babies? China is running out of workers, and unlike tariff, trade wars, or politics, this isn't something it can fix overnight. Fewer workers means slower growth, shrinking military, and an economic shift that could shake the entire world. Meanwhile, the US has a secret weapon: legal immigration. More workers, younger people, and an economy that keeps moving forward. So, what happens when one superpower starts shrinking while the other keeps growing? My name is Sham, and let's unravel this thread. Think of country's population like a car engine. The more fuel or workers it has, the faster and farther it can reach. Right now, China's engine is running on fumes, while the US keeps refueling its economic tank. And that's a huge problem for China. China's population is shrinking for the first time in decades. In 2022 alone, it lost about 850,000 people. That's like an entire city vanishing. Meanwhile, the US added 1.6 million people, mostly thanks to legal immigration. Also, the median age as of 2024 for China, it's 39 years and rising fast. The US, on the other hand, has 38 years but climbing much slower thanks to immigration again. To keep a population stable, a country needs an average birth rate of 2.1 children per woman. China just one of the lowest in the world. US 1.6, still below replacement, but then again, immigration helped balance things out. Now, why does this matter? Because when a country runs out of young workers, it doesn't just affect jobs, it impacts innovation, military strength, and global influence. And while the US keeps adding skilled workers, China's workforce is shrinking faster than expected, which means the economic gap between these two giants is about to get wider. China's shrinking workforce isn't just some random bad luck. It's a crisis decades in the making. Back in 1979, China's leaders were worried about overpopulation. Their solution was the one-child policy. For over 35 years, families were legally restricted to just one child. At first, it seemed smart. Fewer kids meant less strain on resources. But today, the decision is backfiring hard. By 2050, over 30% of China's population will be over 60 years old. That's a massive tax and healthcare burden. And who's going to fill in all those jobs? China tried to reverse the damage. In 2016, they changed the one-child policy to two-child policy. In 2021, they increased it to three-child policy. They have even rolled out financial incentives, tax breaks, and better maternity benefits. But here's the thing, young people aren't buying it. And if that wasn't enough, there's another problem: China's gender imbalance. Because of cultural preferences for sons, many families chose to have boys instead of girls. The result? China now has 34 million more men than women. That's more single men than the entire population of Canada. And fewer women means fewer marriages, fewer families, and even fewer kids being born. It's a downward spiral that's hard to escape. Meanwhile, across the Pacific, the US keeps adding skilled workers, keeping its economy fresh and competitive. It's like one team is losing players while the other keeps signing new talent. And if that wasn't enough, there is another problem. Young people aren't even having kids anymore. Because life in modern China is expensive, and not in a splurge on Starbucks everyday kind of way. Housing prices are out of control. Education is insanely expensive, and job market just brutal. For many young adults, having kids isn't just difficult, it's financially impossible. So despite all government's efforts, China's birth rates keep plummeting. And this isn't just China's problem, it's going to shake up the entire global economy. While China's population is shrinking, the US has something that keeps its workforce strong: legal immigration. Now, I know, immigration is a divisive topic, but let's be clear, we are strictly talking about legal immigration here. The kind that brings in skilled workers, entrepreneurs, and young people who contribute to the economy. Every year, about 1 million immigrants legally arrive in the US. And they don't just fill jobs, they start businesses, create industries, and drive innovation. Over half of America's billion-dollar startups were founded by legal immigrants. Google, Tesla, Moderna, all companies started by legal immigrants. And it's not just tech. Legal immigration fuels industries like healthcare. More doctors, more nurses, more researchers, and engineering, more skilled professionals to build and innovate. Construction, keeping up with infrastructure demands, and agriculture, ensuring food production remains steady. Now, does this mean immigration is a perfect system? Absolutely not. There are real debates about border security, visas, and how many immigrants the US should admit each year. But here's the bottom line. A younger, growing workforce is a competitive advantage. While China scrambles to reverse its population decline, the US keeps adding young, skilled workers legally. And in a world where demographics shape the future, that's a game changer. When the world's second largest economy runs out of workers, the entire global order shifts. For decades, China was the factory of the world. Now, wages are rising. Factories are struggling to find workers, and companies are looking elsewhere: India, Vietnam, Mexico. If this trend continues, China could lose its manufacturing dominance and supply chains will restructure towards other nations. And it's not just economics, it's about military power too. Right now, China has the world's largest military, but keeping that up requires young recruits. 30% of its population will be over 60 by 2050. That's a whole lot of retirees and fewer people available for military service. Meanwhile, the US will have younger, more stable population, keeping its economic and military dominance. So, what does all of this mean? China's population is shrinking fast. Its economy will slow down. Its workforce is aging. Meanwhile, the US still has a growing younger population. Does this mean China is doomed? Not necessarily, but unless China figures out a solution fast, it's looking at a very different future than it planned. Do you think China can turn this around? Or are we witnessing a slow decline of a superpower? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your take. And if you found this insightful, hit like, subscribe, and share, because the world is changing fast, and if you're not paying attention, you're already behind. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.